I'm going for the Benoit Blanc hairstyle, and no, it's not because my barber canceled the last minute. Anyways, I love the Benoit Blanc movies so much. I've never been the biggest murder mystery fan, or at least the formula in many stories, or at least how I experienced them. Do not ask for a detailed history. Just a recent example, the Kenneth Branagh's Poirot films, and honestly shows like Pokerface and High Potential have done a good subversion for me on the murder mystery or crime procedural at first, but over time I have gotten tired of. Once I realize the same setup or formula, I just, I get tired of it, even when it's still decent in its execution, and I understand why other people, and I think they should be allowed to enjoy things that I don't enjoy, except crime. They shouldn't enjoy crime. Anyways, it takes something though for me like, I don't know, the Knives Out, Glass Onion, and Wake Up Dead Man to be this breath of fresh air I'm searching for. Originally, I was gonna see it was just an accident at the Montclair Film Festival, but it would have conflicted with this movie's time, and given this would eventually be on Netflix, I'm like, well, if I had to choose. But, surprisingly, it was just an accident, was sold out. So, hey, I got to go see this movie instead. And yeah, as I said before, Knives Out, the first one, is one of the most important movies to me, at least in 2019, when I really realized I love filmmaking, and that's what I wanted to do. And Glass Onion, the more I think about it and come back to it, I love it more. It really should have been higher on my top 10 list of 2022. Oh, God, time. Anyways, but yeah, going into this one though, I had figured out, since I'd never been to this theater, not to sit where not the best seat in the house was. I don't know, I didn't know how the theater was, and like the screen was much smaller than I assumed given the scale, but whatever. Yet somehow, once I was able to just engage with Wake Up Dead Man as another movie I love, all my problems disappeared for me. Just, start to finish. Everything good or bad leading up to it. Plus, I get to say I've seen all three of these movies in theaters. Written and directed by Rian Johnson, starring Daniel Craig in his third outing, the film follows what might be the hardest case for Benoit Blanc to crack yet. Reverend Judd Plentisi, played by Josh O'Connor, is placed in a small town where he's forced to work with the ruthless and domineering messenger MSGR Jefferson Wicks, played by Josh Brolin. I don't go to these, so I don't. Anyways, the head priest, who's so strict and intense, his leadership has led his followers and his all-star cast, including Glenn Close, Jeremy Renner, Kerry Washington, Andrew Scott, Kaylee Spaney, and Daryl McCormick, to follow his every word as each seek religion to resolve them of their problems, and Wicks as their warped savior. A file occurs as, a murder at the church happens, and the police chief, Geraldine, played by Mila Kunis, summons Benoit Blanc to solve what might be an impossible murder. Without spoilers, it's a locked room mystery, and the more Blanc dives deeper into finding who did it and how and why seem all the more impossible, and something unbelievable occurs that will have all people push to their limits and reveal where their fate truly lies. Obviously, I can't spoil the movie's plot, and it can be a little hard to talk about since what I don't say might give clues to what I'm talking about. The closest I'll talk about is with Josh O'Connor's character. Like how Ana de Armas and Janelle Monáe were arguably the real main characters of the other movies. Judd here is arguably the main character of this story. And Josh O'Connor gives an amazing performance and an excellent character work that I love seeing. I went in suspecting that given the type of detective Blanc is, he would be an atheist, and he is. Though Blanc and Judd aren't at each other's throats about whether or not the other is wrong for their beliefs, it's the kind of religious respect people should have with, each other that, is the central theme of this movie, being about religious beliefs we have not only for a higher being, but about each other. Judd became a reverend for reasons that are, genuine, while Wicks was born into it and uses his power to, have people who see him as this genuine person, that since he was at this type of voice and position to take advantage of it, they don't really see a problem with it. And yet, for a movie that could have easily been about disproving religion through facts, it is arguably, in my opinion, one of the best examples of the good in religion, exposing how people can, corrupt it for their own selfish or hypocritical reasons, or see it as an excuse to do wrong for any reason they feel like. When Judd's arc follows him finding the righteousness and points in religion, it should be an example for people about what religion should be, not what people want it to be. And while the cast may not get as much to do to shine as the other two movies, they still have a ton of great things to stand out, have memorable moments. And I should say this now, this movie might be the funniest. Well, it might not seem like the most grounded of the three movies. Okay, well, it seems the most grounded because the other two movies are all the uber rich. This one's, given it's a lot more low-scale setting and characters, it's just hilarious. Seeing it as a stacked theater where sometimes people laugh so hard, it was hard to hear once or twice what some people said in the movie. But hey, it was so funny. I can't deny maybe deserved it. It can be so funny to laugh at these characters when they act out more naive, but it's also easy when the characters are, relatable and, you can feel their tragedies to let them to who they are. Everyone has their reasons for their motivations, that either they realize they have hypocrisy or they think their choices are right because they're misguided. It's hard to further elaborate without any plot spoilers, so I'll move on from the story as of now. But I should say about the mystery itself, I will say though, given how the subversion of the other two films, this movie is more straightforward with its mystery, and the framing device early on is revealed. The actual context to it isn't part of the huge twist. Rather, this movie does have the most intriguing mystery of the series. I mean, I constantly kept thinking one character did it, only for it to be another, then how or why shook me. It is something where once it's explained, usually I hate this since it's the type of plan where, if one thing went wrong, blah, 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 the trope in heist movies. Here, though, it doesn't bother me, and it's because of the clues that are clever enough where it doesn't feel impossible. Like, they just, they wrote the mystery first, and then they were like, how are we actually going to solve it? No, it feels like they wrote it in mind of, how this was actually going to be solved. And like any good mystery, what we think is obvious, we ignore. Of course, this is subjective, but maybe for some people, they think when they solve the mystery, it'll, they think the explanation doesn't lead to beloved resolution. That's fine. Some people think, I don't know, I feel like that's too implausible, or, okay, I feel like I could have seen that coming a mile away, you smartass. But anyways, yeah, I really like the mystery of this movie. And I love these movies so much, and it's impressive how each of these movies stand on their own and leave you still surprised. Through its laugh and murder, this movie does have a lot to say about religion and modern day society and some of the best performances of the year. It could be something where maybe by now, I can see the formula with the monologues or red herrings, but it really doesn't bother me, even if I can see why it would bother others. I mean, if there's anything I could criticize, I do wish the whole cast got more to do. Like I said, I would have liked to see more of Mila Kunis's character in the story, given her role to the plot. But that's about it. I wouldn't say she's a foil for Benoit, but it's kind of nice to see him get along with other people, I mean, I just love the character of Benoit Blanc, what can I say? And yeah, I guess, I don't know if anything, and this is not even a criticism, this is just me saying it's not the best movie I've seen of the year. Whatever. Look, it's the type of movie where it proves that, it's one of my favorite films of the year, and I just can't wait to watch it again on Netflix. Because it's just the type of movie where it proves it doesn't matter what expectations you have going in. It stands on its own and has a unique voice, whether compared to the other films in this franchise or other films in general. And sure, the jokes are gut-busting, the serious moments are genuine, and there is so much to take away from this movie, from its discussion of modern-day religion and the character arc of Josh O'Connor's character. What was his name? Oh yeah, Joe Duplantis. Now, with one impeccable performance from him, and also someone else who I can't say, because if I say who it is, it might give spoilers to who I think probably did it. If I was like, oh, this person gave such a good performance, they probably did it. So, I'll leave it at that. Anyways, Wake Up Dead Man Lives of the Light. And it is a triumph, and while, sure, a fourth film in this series may or may not even happen, Benoit Blanc's story might not be over, but right now, it leaves me with hope, maturity, and prosperity for other movies in this genre and films overall. I love Wake Up Dead Man. I love other movies that are in this franchise. I love the character. I love these casts. I really hope we can get more movies like these and other movies in general to be like them. But hey, it may not be everyone's thing, but for me, I'll have a good time always. These are I give Wake Up Dead Man a 9 out of 10. Make sure to like and subscribe, and if you need me, I'll go get a haircut now.